Welcome to the Skinergy Squad podcast with your captain, Kristen Heath, and let's not forget head cheerleader, Cindy Grossman. Let's go. Hello. How's it going?
Monday.
Happy
Good.
Monday to you. It's been an exciting Monday for sure.
Look at us matching in white today.
Yeah, of all colors. Never usually wear white.
Isn't today the first day of spring?
I think that might have been yesterday, but close enough. Yes, spring.
Oh, spring, white, feeling fresh. I went through my closet and I put all my winter stuff away. I think we're done with the cold.
I don't know. They say this weekend could be a little chilly again, but nothing major for sure.
No.
Nothing.
And I leave out a coat or two, so.
I don't think you'll need a coat.
No,
maybe a sweatshirt.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Right.
So how was your weekend?
My weekend was okay. It had a lot of ups and downs. Unfortunately, Saturday.
We spent Saturday most of it together.
Yes, Saturday we went and paid our respects to Nadine Cavalier's family and to her and her mother and her son. It was a very sad outing for us, and while it didn't hit me until the moment, seeing her the way we did and meeting her mother and her mother saying what a wonderful, beautiful daughter she was, that hit me. That really did. Yeah, it was very sad. Something that didn't have to happen, and certainly a topic that we need to bring forward and we need to talk about domestic violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was an emotional one. So.
And for something like that to happen in this small town of ours, and to see the support that they both had as a couple, just it boggles my mind. I have to be really honest with everybody. It just boggles my mind that it was going on and this was the final result from all this. I mean, you and I looked up the Facebook pages and, we really dived in to see where and how it all began. And it was, it was there and it was really out in the open. So for me, that was difficult.
And I know that we both were asking, like, when somebody, people seem to know about it. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Froze for a second. When people know, it's like, how do you help them? And how do you help someone that doesn't want to be helped? I think in a lot of situations that question could be asked,
Right. So. I'd like to try to get maybe somebody from Serene Harbor or, a place to really come and talk to us, or maybe even a therapist who deals with things like this. There has to be something more that we can do. I mean, you and I didn't know what was going on, but there were people that knew what was going on. There has to be more that you can do to, save the person's life. It's just tragic.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I know a young lady that died right out of high school when I graduated from this situation. So, I mean, it happens more times than we think. So, definitely that's a topic that we will touch more on.
Yes.
It's a hard one, but it definitely needs to be talked about. So, Saturday, so after we had a tough morning, we picked up that little, I don't have any Sebastian pictures today. I know, and I had a good one too. I'll post it next week. But we picked up that little crazy boy. I feel like he brings smiles to all of our faces. So
he is so funny. I had him at my house, and he was just walking all over. And he has this little balloon he walks around with. It's from the Super Bowl. I saved it because I know he loves balloons. Cincinnati Bengals, and it has like a little weighted chip on the bottom, and he holds it, and he just loves to walk all around with that.
And he knows everywhere where to go. And like we were about to go upstairs before we even walked up there, remember? And he's like ready to go up the stairs. Like,
and he's not afraid of anything. He is not. He is fearless. He's not afraid. He walks away. He doesn't look back like if you're coming to see him or something. No, I'm doing it myself and I'm going. And he's a
And yeah,
man.
and
He
it's like
really,
when I bring him in the house and I'll like, okay, come on, and he doesn't want to go. I'll like close the door, but I'm like peeking through the peephole. He's right there. He doesn't even care. Like most
he
kids, I feel
doesn't
like
cry.
are crying. No, he's just like, okay, have a good one.
Yeah. Bye. Bye bye. He's really
So, what did you do
adorable.
Sunday?
Sunday we went for a long bike ride, a really long bike ride all the way up North Tropical. That was nice. It was a beautiful day, breezy, so that we enjoyed that. And then we came back and we did some straightening up of the house. And then some old friends of ours came to visit from Orlando. We spent a little time with them, and then we had good old fashioned family dinner at my parents' house. That was
Oh,
good. Mitch's favorite. Mitch's
somebody's
favorite.
correcting you. It was
Oh,
7.
well, he did 17 because I'm a little slower than him. So he does a lot of those roundabouts. So I do 16, and because he's doing the roundabouts, I he did 17. So excuse me.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's the
Well,
only
it was a
difference.
beautiful day. We spent so much time outside Sunday afternoon. The weather was
Good.
like beautiful.
It
So
was. It was.
kept
Today
me.
was a beautiful day too, but unfortunately I spent it mostly indoors. But it was okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those that are watching, we want to say thank you and make sure you follow us on Facebook at the Skinergy Squad. Cindy and I both have Facebook pages. And if you're local, be sure to make an appointment, come see us in Satellite Beach. And of course,
Absolutely.
if you like our content, be sure to stay notified, hit the bell, subscribe. But I think it's our favorite time, Miss Cindy.
Yes, many national holidays that we always seem to forget, right? So believe it, today was National Healthy Fats Day. So eat those avocados. It's also National Single Parent Day. That goes out to a lot of our gals and guys out there. National Fragrance Day. You know where you can get your great fragrances. You know that. Then during the week, it's gonna be National Goof Off Day. I think many of us may
I love
participate in
Google.
that daily. Yes. And another good one, I thought, As Young as You Feel Day. So, I mean, if you're my age and you want to feel like 18, go for it, girls. Go for it. It's also National Puppy Day. I know a lot of people have puppies out there. National Chip and Dip Day. I know it was Chip Day last week, but this is Chip and Dip. Okay. National Cheesecake Day. National Chocolate Covered Raisin Day. Not nuts. We talked about nuts previously. Raisin Day. A little bit more healthy, maybe, but unfortunately, my favorite. National Cocktail Day. Nobody needs
What's
a
your favorite
special day for
cocktail?
that. I like a good Cosmo, I must admit. But I
What
do
day is
like a
that,
good,
Friday?
that is actually Friday, of course, right? Friday. And then we have International Waffle Day. It's all about an eating frenzy. That's why I'm glad we have Lisa coming on. And then, believe it or not, it's going to start National Physicians Week. So, shout out to those physicians. A shout out to my physician who gave me my epidural today. He is a master, I have to tell you. Anybody needs a good spine doctor,
I'm
I've
like
got
over
him.
here like this because my back.
You need to go see him. He's just amazing. And today is World Poetry Day. And if anybody knows a little bit about me, I'm all about a ditty. Okay, a little poem ditty. So I
Is
did a
that what
little
they're
poem
called? A ditty?
ditty, a little ditty, right? A little
How did you
ditty.
get into poems?
I don't know. My husband, he was kind of a poet and didn't even know it. So he kind of branched on to me, so to say, right? So here we go. A little ditty about our
Wait,
guest
are you
today.
gonna share the little? I mean, I know you told it once on the show, but
With
your husband and the poems. For
oh,
those that don't
well,
know.
yes, my husband writes me a poem every day. We went from a paper towel because Miss Kristen said he was wasting too much paper to just typing them on WhatsApp. So now I get my
We're
poems
talking
every morning.
every single day
Not
without
every
fail.
day. Usually
No.
Monday to Friday. The weekends he slacks off, but it's okay. He makes up for it. So here's my little poem about our guest today. Lisa Duke, life and weight coach. She has the best approach. Getting to the root of your issues. In your session, there may be need for tissues. Lisa guides you in the right path. Allow her to do the math. You will be grateful for the result. Just be an adult and consult. So I'm happy to say Lisa is here, and I think we should. Here she is!
Hey.
Yay!
Hello.
Did you like her poem?
That was fantastic. I was nervous for you when you said coach. My brain is like, oh my God, what rhymes with coach? But you pulled it off. So good job.
Thank you.
Tell you, all of the marketing things we go to, I'll get up or I always have to go before Cindy because I'll get up and say, hi, I'm Kristen, co-owner of Skinergy, blah, blah, blah. Cindy gets up with this long, beautiful poem that everybody, so you don't want to go after Cindy. You want to always go in before her.
It's a good tip.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But it definitely
Yeah.
catches people's attention. So I think it's a good one.
Mhm.
Right. And it's a good way to introduce or make your point at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Anna said, good job, Cindy. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Hi,
That was
Anna.
impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Lisa, do you want to start by telling us about yourself? Anything, you want the listeners to know, people watching?
Yeah. Well, I am in Stuart, Florida. We moved here in 2019, so I still kind of feel new, but I'm getting settled. We moved down for my husband's work. He works for the city. I am a certified life and weight coach through the Life Coach School. I've been coaching since 2018. And been focused in on weight really just for about the last year or so because I kind of accidentally lost 50 pounds and people wanted to know like what I did and how I did it. So it's like, this seems to be really in demand, especially after cookies. After COVID, there were a lot of cookies and a lot of people needed to get some of that COVID weight off. So yeah, so that's a little bit about my background.
Where did you guys come? Where did you live before, Lisa?
Metro Atlanta. That's where I did most of my adulting. That's not where the accent's from. I grew up in Arkansas. So if you're hearing a little twang, a little southern drawl, that's where that's from. But moved to Metro Atlanta shortly after college and we had most of our careers there. And so people asked when we were moving to Florida if we were retiring. Like, it's more like pre-retirement, not retirement. Like, we're not ready to be retired yet, but it's definitely like all the retirement lifestyle, but with still having to go to work during the week. So it's been fun.
Right. But you found a great profession.
Yes. And luckily, everything I do is over Zoom. So it kind of doesn't matter where we are.
Fantastic. I mean, while everybody was gaining the COVID-20, I mean, you took off COVID-50.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. And it was a surprise to me. Certainly weight is something that I have been concerned about and tried to do something about. And I've done things in the past to lose weight. Like I tried Jenny Craig for a while. I did Weight Watchers for a while. I was in a really high intensity boot camp and all of it worked somewhat for a while, but I was always either on it or off it. It was never really about making a permanent lifestyle change. And I had never really gotten at the root of the problem. So when I went for this advanced coach training through the Life Coach School in, it was like 2020 going into spring of 2021, that's where I learned their approach. And it just worked really well for me. So yeah, it's kind of a surprise. Mm-hmm.
Now your coaching is, you call it Weight University, right?
Yes. Yep. That's the program. So the business is Lisa Duke Coaching, but the weight program specifically I call Weight University, and that's 4 months. Now, people aren't required to finish it. You're only required to pay for the first month because I want people to feel safe coming in. And coaching it's like a professional service or a personal service. It's an investment of time and money. So I want people to feel safe coming in, be able to get a good sample, and then have the freedom to choose if they want to continue. But if they want to, then all the teaching and the materials, it's intended to be a 4-month program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nice.
That's
And
great.
is it for men and women?
So my ideal client is a woman over 40 with over 40 pounds to lose, but that is not right. It's my business. So I can make exceptions. And I have had, I helped my husband a little bit. He kind of tapped out early on, but I have had a guy come through. I had a fella who was a sales executive out of Orlando who came through the program, and it worked really well for him. A lot of the people that I work with, at least for me, I didn't know what was going on. A lot of my clients do know. They know they're stress eaters. They know they're emotional eaters. And we really work on the stress and the emotions, kind of get under what's driving the eating pattern. And it worked really well for him. But mostly women over 40 with over 40 pounds to lose. I don't do the last 20 pounds because I try to be in integrity, and I could probably stand to lose a little more. So it's not about getting like the last 3 pounds off. That's not my area of expertise. But folks who have, it's crept up over the 20 or so years that you've been adulting, that was my experience. That's my specialty. And I like the women over 40, honestly, because that's when, a friend of mine said one time, that's when the bill comes due. So like in your 30s, you can kind of get away with stuff. It usually doesn't show up in your blood work, but you get over 40, the doctor starts talking about blood sugar and blood cholesterol, and all of a sudden the body can't quite cope with what we've been doing to it. So it gets more serious. So I think it's easier for people to kind of prioritize it at that point.
That's true. Yeah, very true. Interesting. Now, your Weight University. Now, what I like is you will have a consult call with the person. And I feel that the person is coming to you. You're not going to the person. So already the person has decided, I want to talk to Lisa. I do want to do something, but you're very fair, and you tell them through this consult conversation whether or not you feel basically if they're ready to start working with you, which I think is great.
Exactly. And my intention, of course, whether or not it's valuable to them is up to them. But my intention is, even if that's the only time somebody gets to meet with me, that it's valuable to them. We go through a before and after process so they get really clear on where they are, what they've tried in the past, what's going on for them, and get really clear on where they'd like to be, why it's important to them, what kind of their motivation is. So my intention is that right in and of itself gives people some clarity, might motivate them to go out and do it on their own. But also it gives me a good insight into what's going on with them. And if I can tell, okay, there's something else going on, this is not a fit for my program, then I let people know right up front. But if it does seem like a fit, then I get them all the information on the pricing and, get them signed up and get them going. But I want it to be very comfortable for people. That's my intention. And that's part of why I love the one-on-one, because it is private, it's discreet, it's confidential. So people can feel really safe sharing what's going on.
Right. That is important. Yes. And also, the statistics show most people want to do it for their loved ones. They want to lose weight. They want to get healthy for their loved ones. Do you feel that's correct, or do you try to strive that they need to do it for themselves? Because I always feel like, you hear all the life coaches say, got to do it for yourself, got to love yourself. So how do you feel about that?
I actually do find that you're right. A lot of people that come to me, they'll talk about wanting to, like one of my clients who had really phenomenal results. She lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. Now, that's not typical. I don't want to set that as an expectation, but she was fired up. She was ready to go. And her motivation was her grandkids. Her kids had pulled her aside and been like, look, we want you to be around. We want you to see them grow up. We want you to help babysit. So she had a lot of motivation to get herself healthy, to be around, to support her kids, and to, help them raise the grandkids and be involved in their lives. But some people, it is more for themselves. I have one client who really wanted to get out and start dating and wanted to take some of the weight off before she did that. I have other clients that, they come for the weight loss, but once we start talking, there's always an issue underneath the issue. So one of my clients, we've talked a lot about her youngest, who's really struggling. Now, obviously, I don't have kids. I'm not a parenting coach. I'm not an expert on that. But I can help her see how her thoughts are contributing to the situation. I can help her kind of deal with the feelings that she's having about her kid's situation. So it's all different reasons, but I find a lot of people that are overweight, they have not up until this point prioritized themselves. So it's hard for them to, spend money on themselves, to take time for themselves, but it's really important. So to some degree, whether they're doing it for their kids and their grandkids, for their spouse, for their family, or for themselves, as long as they're getting in there and taking better care of themselves, it has the benefits for everybody.
Right.
So
Definitely.
Lisa, when you're not universitying and coaching, what does Miss Duke like to do in her spare time? You right?
So my husband and I have this running joke that I don't believe in fun. It's just because we have really different opinions of what is fun. My theory on this is like really chill people like to do something exciting in their free time, and people that are kind of wound up like to do something chill in their spare time. Okay. So we have kind of opposite temperaments and opposite definitions of what fun is. But we're so lucky to be here. So one of the things that we've really tried to do, it's easy in Florida to take for granted what we have available to us. And we're still new enough, and we've made it kind of a priority to try to enjoy where we are. So we do a lot of walking in the evenings after work around downtown Stuart. We try to get out once a week to the beach, even if it's just to kind of walk up and down the sand. We actually went swimming like we were tourists or something on Sunday morning. So, and honestly, like I said, I'm kind of like, my idea of fun is chill and boring. I read a lot, like an unsettling amount, and some of it's for fun. And I'm actually in a book club.
One of our really good listeners, he reads all the time.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you're not alone. Yes. No. My husband's like, what do you eat? Like, he's like, haven't you read all the books by now? Like, no. So it's a lot of mostly nonfiction for my business, but I also am in a book club with the ladies in my neighborhood. And so they are pushing me into some like newly written fiction that otherwise I probably wouldn't have picked up. So it's good. It's diversifying my list a little bit. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm. What's like a top book that you've read recently?
The one I'm reading right now, and this is for the book club, is Bright as Heaven. And it's interesting because it was published, I think, in 2018 or 2019 about a family who, it's fiction, but it was set during the Spanish flu. And that's actually why they picked it, because they were like, you're going to see a lot of parallels to COVID. So that's really interesting. And then for the coaching business, trying to think a really good one. There's one, the lady, she's actually out of, I think, the Tampa area, and is a counselor, psychologist, something along those lines. Words to Eat by Karen. I'm going to mispronounce her last name. I think it's Koning or Koenig. If somebody's really interested, take down my contact information and I'll send it to you. But yeah, so lots of really good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of those type of books, you start reading them and then the light bulbs just keep going off. Yeah.
Yes. And I love to learn. I've always been that way. So I'm always like reading, or like I was in class this past weekend. So always trying to learn more to improve myself, but also then it helps me in my practice and helps me support the clients.
Right. Excellent. Kristen, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to ask for people that may be thinking like, oh, I don't know if like coaching is right. What are some things that that could come up in somebody's life where coaching would be an option, whether it's, life, weight, that type of situation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think one, and there might be a little fuzziness around the edges, but one good distinction to make would be the difference between like, when do I need therapy, counseling, that kind of thing. So you want to look at, first off, do I want a diagnosis and a prescription? If so, you want, and I always get them mixed up, but I think it's the psychologist. Yeah, one can write prescriptions, one can't.
Psychiatrist can write.
Yeah.
Right.
So look at that if that's what you're after. And for most of those folks, they tend to deal with the past. So if there's some serious trauma, if you're trying to like work through your childhood stuff, those are the folks that you want to work with. With coaching, it tends to be people that are like, my life isn't perfect, but I'm functioning, right? Like I make it to work. I'm just not where I want to be. So therapy is more about kind of cleaning up the past and getting, working through the trauma, getting functional. Coaching is more like, I am functional, things are working, but I want more. I want to do more. And there are certainly, as with any profession, there's different coaching schools that have different philosophies. Individual coaches have different areas of practice. So this is not the coach program that I went through in end of 2020, beginning of 2021 is not the first program that I went through. But in the course of doing some other training, I started noticing these life school coaches that were having these phenomenal results. Their clients were just raving about them. So it's super expensive. But I was like, you know what? I've just got to like see what's going on there. I've got to figure out what's going on. So the thing I like about the life coach school is first off, they work at the thought level. So they're not about like nagging you. You can kind of do whatever you want. But what we're going to do is get more at the root cause, figure out what's driving the behavior. And then changing the behavior kind of becomes easy and natural. So they're working more at the mindset level, but they're also really focused on results. So it's not just, we're going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and like light some incense. It's like, what do you want out of life? And then what thoughts are in the way, what behavior patterns are in the way, and helping you kind of untangle that. So I would say, kind of thinking about what kind of support you need and then what area you want to focus on, because different coaches do have different specialties.
Definitely. That was an excellent. That was an excellent explanation on how it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like when you're talking about when you went to the school and all that, I just get like, I'm assuming it was a lot of fun. It seemed like it would have been a lot of fun. Like almost like, were you there like in a program for a while or was it online?
It was all done online. There was a time when it used to be in person, but it's all done online. And they have some different options. But the way I did it, it was, so during the week, we would get materials released to us. So there were like paper books and workbooks. There were videos. So you kind of do the training materials during the week. And then we had a small group practicum where you would come together and actually practice coaching, which again was really important to me because the first program that I went through, like I came out the other end and I was like, okay, I learned some good concepts, but I don't actually think I know how to coach, right? Like there's a difference between learning information and learning a skill like riding a bike. You need the practice. So they did weekly practicums for 6 months where we coached each other in front of an instructor. Everybody hated it because it's like super awkward and uncomfortable, but then you come out of it really knowing how to do it. And then the second 6 months, you have 2 different tracks you can take. I took the entrepreneur track. So then you get split up into different small groups, and we went through material on how to refine our niche, set up our marketing, and they really take you through that process of kind of getting the marketing started as well. So it ended up being a whole year-long program, and I still peer coach with one of the coaches that I was paired with every week. On Thursdays, we get together and support each other. And then I'm in a mastermind that meets once a month with mostly people that were in my practicum group. So it's been lifelong relationships. As a matter of fact, I'm about to go to Texas for a conference. So I'm excited because I'm
Wow.
going to meet a lot of these people in person. It's yeah, to take it back to Cindy's business, it's kind of like seminar.
Right.
So you get to go and like see all your mentors on stage and meet all your peers that you've just talked to online, and super excited about that. Yeah.
A lot always learning too. I think you get some great ideas what other people might be doing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's nice to have that ongoing support, right? So, and I've only had this happen once, but if somebody really has something strange come up that I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know how to deal with that, I have that mastermind group that I can take it to. I have my peer coach I can take it to. So I've got support for me. So when people are hiring me, it's really not just me. There's a whole team kind of behind the scenes to help. So they're getting the benefit of all of that network as well.
Right. Because I think you and I have talked about this. All of a sudden, COVID hit. All you saw was, I coach this, I'm this kind of coach, that kind of coach, this kind of coach. Everybody, the other day I went to a network lunch. She does one thing during the day, and then all of a sudden she raised her hand. Oh, I'm a coach. Hey, you're a coach, So, I mean, how could somebody really interview a coach to make sure they're the right fit for them? I think that's really important too.
Yeah. Because I think we did talk about this the other day. It's a very low barrier to entry. Anyone can call themselves as a coach. And from the outside looking in, it's very hard to know, like, what's the difference between the different coach schools and which certification is better. And some of it's subjective. So I think a lot of it is knowing what you want out of the relationship, right? Being really clear on why you're hiring the coach. And when you're interviewing them, kind of asking them what's their philosophy. So some coaches, their whole thing is to like pull out of you like a list of action items, and then the next week to hold you accountable. Some people love that. For me, like, I don't know, I find it kind of like annoying. Like, I don't need to, like, I'm very like self-motivated. So I'll go and do the things. I don't need somebody to nag me.
We need tips on that. How do you self-motivate?
I think a lot of it is, at least for me, like clearing up kind of the mindset piece, right? Because if what you're doing is just a natural expression of who you are, like, who makes you get on here at 8:00 on a weeknight? If you had a boss who was telling you had to go to a work thing at 8:00 at night on a weeknight, you would be like, not doing that. So terrible. This is like abuse, right? But because you want to do it, it's fun and it's exciting and you're like happy to be here. So for me, that's what works best. And that's my approach. So it's not about like, there is some accountability just automatically built into the fact that we're meeting once a week. I'm asking them how things are going, but it's not like nagging them into submission. It's removing the obstacles to the way. So, kind of asking what's their philosophy? How do they help clients get results? How long have they been doing it? Do they have any testimonials, any case studies? All of those kind of things could be helpful as you're trying to figure out who to work with.
And the first coach might not always be the right coach. Like, I know, especially even in therapy, like you sometimes need to, you have a few therapy sessions with a few different people to find the right one. So I'm assuming it'd be the same with coaching.
Yeah. And I prefer to work with someone who has done what I want to do. Now, technically, right, like I have the tools that I have, theoretically, I should be able to work with anyone on anything. So when things come up that are kind of like not something I have life experience with, I can handle it. But in terms of what I'm marketing, like why would I, right? I told you I don't have kids. Why would I market myself as the parenting coach, right? Like I don't have kids, like, so I would try to work with somebody who has done what you are wanting to do and who has happy clients, happy alums, right? Because
and I think that makes it great with the whole weight coach, because you did it and like naturally, and you're sustaining it. It's not like you went on this crazy diet and a month from now you're going to be like,
right. We didn't stress that. That's true. We didn't stress that, Lisa. it's no shakes, it's no food, it's no exercise. It's,
Exactly.
really,
I don't
yeah.
sell any products and I don't make any plans. So I don't make meal plans. There's no macros. I don't make exercise plans. Now, realistically, y'all know people tend to kind of change the way they eat. They tend to get out and move a little bit more. Everybody kind of knows what to do. And again, right, like with my client, if you're a woman over 40, you've read all the magazines, you've probably got a couple of different diet books on the shelf. You kind of know it's probably like less ice cream, more vegetables. The question is not like what to do. The question is, how can I do it and not have it be terrible? And how can I sustain it, right? Because I talked to somebody the other day who has lost a lot of weight. I've talked to a couple of people like this where they've lost a lot of weight in the past. They know they can lose the weight, but then when they're off the diet, it all comes right back, of course, because it's more about who you're being, right? So if I'm being the person who eats like a skinny person and then I stop and I go back to eating the way I was when I was gaining the weight is going to go back, right? It's kind of obvious, but we never talk about that. So I really encourage my clients to make small changes that they can sustain for life. It's not about like trying to white knuckle it and trying to sprint and trying to get the weight off. It's like that balance of like, who can I realistically be forever, right? Like maybe I can be the person who has a salad for lunch every day, but I'm not going to be the girl that never has a cookie. So, right. So let's just not fake it.
Cindy will never be the girl that won't have DQ.
Yeah, right, right.
DQ, pasta, yeah. I mean, so
yeah.
you got to figure it out. You
Exactly.
really,
exactly. So it might be like a smaller portion of pasta, a bigger portion of vegetables. But if you're like, look, I'm not going to give pasta up for 6 months because I know at the end of the 6 months it's coming back. So why? Yeah. So finding that balance of sustainable, realistic change and becoming the kind of person who just enjoys going for a walk on the beach, who just enjoys like, because honestly, I think food is like whatever you're eating, you tend to crave it. And there's like this really awful transition phase. But then a lot of my clients, I talk to them, they start eating healthier and it's not at first, but after a while, they're like, I used to really crave McDonald's, but now I think it's kind of gross. Yeah. And I don't know exactly what that is or when that happens, but it's definitely a thing, right? Like your body kind of gets to the point where it wants what it's used to, for better or for worse.
It is true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to it. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go. Tell your story.
Okay. No. I used to go to a gym and my husband, he was there with me and we'd work out with a personal trainer. And there was another girl who was working out with a personal trainer. And the trainer told us she'll do these great workouts, but when she leaves here, she goes to McDonald's.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just, yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just under, crazy. And I mean, if you're going to go to McDonald's, at least you got the workout in, right? Like that is good for your health to get some exercise. But yeah, there's probably some kind of, it's like borderline kind of addictive behavior, right? Where you're probably using the food for other reasons. A lot of us use food as medicine, and that's honestly kind of a good choice. Like it's way better than like heroin or, vodka at 7 a.m. Right. If you need some emotional support. Yeah. If you need some emotional support at 7 a.m., better a brownie than vodka, but it's, long term, it won't get you a DUI, but long term, it'll get you into trouble.
Anna just stole my word. Anna just put up self-sabotage. I was just going to say that, Anna. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you go to the gym, you're doing something great for yourself, but then you're leaving the gym and you are, it's really self-sabotage.
Yeah. And then the question becomes why?
Why? Of course.
Yeah. And it's different for different people, right? It might be kind of like almost like an addiction to the food that we're used to eating. For a lot of people, they start to lose weight and dudes get weird. Not all the guys, but some of the guys. Like you start losing the weight, you get some unwanted attention. I've had a lot of clients tell me stories like that. One used to lived in the DC area and she would go jogging. And she said, I could tell I was like getting closer to my goal weight because dudes started saying inappropriate things to me as I was running. So I was like, good news, it's working. Bad news, I now feel unsafe. She stopped jogging. So of course, right, the weight starts coming back. So yeah, there's all kinds of factors going on. There's, like what we got used to as kids, patterns of behavior, habits, using food as a drug, using that extra weight as a little bit of, like I was in IT and it was mostly dudes and none of them were openly creepy to me. But I also noticed I got treated with a little bit more respect and more like a human instead of a woman when I was a little heavier. So it was kind of working for me. Yeah. So it's that secondary gain of like, okay, you want to lose the weight to look better, right? To look a certain way, to feel healthier, to get your numbers right on your blood work. But what are you going to be giving up once you lose the weight? So it may bring some unwanted attention. You're going to have to find another way to deal with your feelings. So there's all kinds of aspects to it. It's super fascinating.
That is. Wow. For sure.
So Lisa, when you're eating an unhealthy meal, what's your meal of choice?
So I am not like a meal of choice person. I am a food of choice person, and it is chocolate. Chocolate is my kryptonite.
Hear that.
Love chocolate. So see, right? Like I'm still a little bit of a work in progress, which goes back to you don't have to be perfect to lose 50 pounds, right?
No.
So, and it's interesting. I find with my clients, there's like, so probably the biggest one, well, I don't know about that, but there's like Team Salty Crunchy that like the pretzels and the chips. There's the chocolate people, which is my camp. There's people that like sweets. Creamy is like its whole own category. So the ice cream people, like creamy is a really good like ice cream for comfort kind of thing. So yeah, everybody kind of has their own thing.
What about like the potato category?
Like
I think I'm in every camp.
No, the potato.
Like chips or like a baked potato?
I don't know, like fries
All
or
potatoes?
like,
French fries and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'd probably put that in like with the salty crunchy if it's French fries. Because it's not like it's not like, I could really pound a plain baked potato, right?
Right.
Oh, maybe she could.
No,
it's the French fries. It's the, probably the salty. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it could be its own thing, right? Like sometimes,
Fried.
there might be a childhood memory that goes
I
with
just
that.
like pound the water.
I don't think you actually can have too much water, but I don't know anybody that's happened to. So you're probably safe.
Sometimes, like for instance, today I didn't I was just busy working and
Yeah.
noticed I didn't eat until like 12-ish and all I had was water. And I usually have this huge gallon thing that I carry around. So I start to feel like I'm like washing away all my like salt and sugar levels start to get like low.
Yeah. You're like swishing when you walk.
You're funny.
Thank you.
But then people start, like you mentioned it this morning. Oh, I didn't eat since 9 last night and it's 9 now. Well, I'm intermittent fasting. I mean, I don't see if that's, I mean,
a lot of people do intermittent fasting.
I know, but I don't know how that really, I mean, okay, if you're not, a lot of people aren't hungry for breakfast.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
And that is something, right? And again, it depends on the client. So I don't tell anybody like your best plan is to not eat. You will lose weight, but then you're going to have other issues, right? So I don't tell people to do that. But me personally, typically during the week, I'm not hungry for breakfast. And so it goes back to that, right? Like, okay, I'm not hungry and I want to lose weight. So why am I eating this? Like, makes no sense. And for me, the answer was like, probably marketing, right? Like breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Of course you say that cereal company. It's the most important one for your revenue. And that's not everybody, right? Like some people, if they don't get breakfast, they feel like really grouchy, really low energy. So, kind of know yourself and know your body. But I do encourage people to take some sort of a break from eating, right? If you don't want breakfast, don't eat breakfast, or have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but maybe like the whole like eating every 2 hours or 10 minutes or whatever they've been telling us, like there's a lot of science that actually shows you need to let your insulin get down to get you out of fat storage mode and into fat burning mode. So you can still have 3 meals a day, but you need to like stop eating in between the meals.
Like give your digestive system a break.
Yeah, exactly. Because as long as your blood sugar is high, and I think this is where the hangry thing comes from, is like the blood sugar is really high, the blood sugar crashes, and it's almost like an addictive, like I need to get a fix, and then the blood sugar gets back up. But as long as that blood sugar is high, you can't burn the fat that you're carrying. So you have to actually like let it get down to let that other system. And this is like a lot of the things with our body. It needs that cyclical, right? Like think about your heartbeat, think about your breathing. Like if you're just constantly breathing in, you're going to have problems. Right? Like we need those rhythms and those cycles. We need waking and sleeping. We need inhale and exhale. It's the same kind of thing. You need to store fat. You need to burn fat.
Anna said pizza. One of our people said pizza category.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Pizza.
I love pizza.
Yeah. It's that carbs and then the grease and the fat and yeah.
What do you prefer, pizza or ice cream, Cindy? I know you want ice cream after your pizza. I know what you want. Cindy works hard, though. This lady can eat whatever she wants to eat because I've never seen somebody work out the way she does. She's like Kim K of workout over here.
But the thing is, somebody has greatly insulted me and said to me that if you would eat right, you would look unbelievable. And I said to myself,
who was that?
That's not
I think you look pretty unbelievable already.
Thank you. But you know what? I mean, I'm not at the goal weight I should be, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, but I'm okay. I mean, at my age where I am sorry. I am going to have that ice cream cone. Yeah. I am going to have that slice of pizza.
YOLO.
All of your friends are
exactly YOLO. YOLO. Right.
Yeah. Look, I was waiting for him to say something. Cindy is dazzling.
Lisa met him. She knows him.
I think he likes you.
Yeah. A little bit.
Wait, Cindy, seriously? Somebody said this, or is this a joke?
What? Oh, no. Somebody absolutely said this to me, who is, a big believer in exercise and diet and diet and diet and diet, with macros and this and that. And you know what? I realized at that point that there are those people, and then there are people like me.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I like to go to a nice restaurant. I like to have a nice dinner. That's who I am. If I want to have a cocktail, I'm going to have a cocktail. I mean, I'm not a big drinker. Maybe once a week I'll have a cocktail. But I think, and honestly, I think I've always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, heavier when I was younger. And then I think I really got into working out. And then I probably gained some weight back.
Look at this.
That's beautiful. Sebastian. That's
can
Kristen's
see like
little boy.
The chisel in your arms, the smile. Like, come on.
Oh, look at him. He's so cute. He's so cute.
And I think sorry,
mindset,
I get excited.
Mindset. No, I do too. The mindset.
And it's really about knowing what you want and what you're willing to do and kind of finding the balance. So one of the gals who's in my mastermind went through coach training with me. So we have the same coach training background. And before she came to coaching, she was already doing fitness competitions. She's now partnered with ladies that are bodybuilders. So they do the meal plans, the weightlifting plans, and she does the mindset piece. But she wants that look, right? It's a very specific look. And not everybody, like some people want to be a little softer. So what it takes to be a fitness model is different than what it takes to be like, a hot regular person. And if you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna, give up these things to do that. That's not my goal. It's really about knowing, like I was telling somebody the other day, because she's like, well, you probably know I'm a potential client. I'm like, yo, I can kind of tell who's probably not, but I can't tell who is, because somebody might be at 275. But if a year ago they were at 375, they may be very happy where they are, very proud of themselves, and not ready to lose anymore, right? Like they might be, like I'm banging, I like what I've got going on. So you can't tell by looking, and also we all have a lot going on. We have different priorities. So there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's on the to-do list right after, like, getting my business up and running and, figuring out how to do my hair, or, like, right, raising my kids. People have a lot going on. So somebody has to be at that point. And people have, again, right, my clients are mostly over 40. They've been knocked down a couple of times. So they're like, probably this is just going to be exactly like everything else I've ever done. Why would I give it a chance? Which is part of why I do the money back guarantee. If people finish the program,
yes,
for up to a year later, they can come back and be like, yeah, I thought this was going to be different, but this was really just Weight Watchers. I already knew everything, right? Like, cool. I'm not trying to, like, I want to get paid for my time, obviously, but I'm not trying to like rip everybody off or just do what, everybody else wants to.
Rip anybody off.
It's not a great long-term. It works really well short-term, but it is not a long-term way to build a business. My husband and I, you asked about what we do for fun. We also have an IT consulting company that's kind of our like side hustle. And there were times when we first started that business where my husband was telling clients like, yeah, you don't want to hire me for this. Just, do this and this and this. And I'm like kicking him under the table. Like, you're turning down free money. Like, shut up and take their money. And he's like, no, because if you like screw people over, you might win in the short run, but they will remember. If you do right by a client, if they're like trying to throw money at you and you're like, no, I'm really not the right person, they will come back to you over and over again. They will refer friends to you. So it's tough, right? It's tough to do what you think is right in the long term instead of like grabbing the money in the short term. But that's how you build a business. That's how you build a referral network. That's how, right? Because my clients are my best marketing. If they're happy, if they're getting results, if they're telling all their friends about it, you can't buy that kind of advertising.
That's terrific. Did you hear that? Money back guaranteed. Money back guaranteed. Who does that? That's wild.
Do you have that, Cindy?
Sure, I do.
Actually, with the time,
absolutely
with the Mary Kay, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Lisa, she is the biggest long-term person. She doesn't push. She doesn't take any. I have to tell her, no, you have to charge them for the product you're giving them, because she has an inventory like you wouldn't believe. It's not like she's out like buying it right now. You know? So it's just like, oh, here, and she want. We want people to feel beautiful the way that they are, like today I was working and I had a lady and I'm doing a facial on her and she's like, oh, can you like look at this spot? And I did like an extra treatment. And I know a lot of people, and maybe that's why they're making this amount of money, but they'll be like, oh, that's an extra, $40 for doing this. And it's like, it took me, extra 10 minutes of time, and they'll remember that. So
Yes, exactly. And if I can give you a little commercial for your product, Cindy. So I shouldn't tell this, but it's good marketing for you. So in a month and a day, I turned 48. And I think I look pretty
You
good.
look good. You look great.
Mary Kay, y'all. For
Good.
over
Thank
20
you.
years. So I started in my
Wow.
20s. Yeah. I started in my 20s with the Time Wise. I'm now on the like shit's getting real
retinol?
formula.
Yeah.
That's not what it says in the catalog, but you know which
Yeah.
one, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So you got to take, right? It goes back to what we're talking about, taking care of yourself. You've got to invest that money and that time in taking care of your skin. In your 20s and 30s, you don't care. In your 40s, you're going to be like, oh, so glad I did that. So,
And men need to care too. We try to stress that men should care.
yes.
Lisa,
You said that
before
like
we-
you weren't convincing them, but they should.
No, I have an echo in my ear.
Yeah,
So
I
I just
have
wanted
an
to
echo
make
too.
Oh
I
no.
don't know why. But Lisa, before we run out of time, please let everybody know how they can reach you for that first consult call to make sure you're a good match with them and they're a good match with you. I don't know if you like to give out your email, whatever's the best, please.
Yeah, probably the easiest way is just to email me, lisa@lisaduke.net. And it's like spelled the easy way, like you think, LISA@LISADUKE.net. I do have an online scheduler, but not all of the times show up there. So that's lisaduke.net/schedule if you prefer that. But if there's not a time out there that you like, I'm open pretty much 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday. So just let me know and we can find a time that works for both of us. And if you're out and about networking, I'm on the Treasure Coast as well. My website is lisaduke.net. I had to think about that one. And if you're local, on not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, the 30th, a couple of us are getting together at my house. We've got somebody to talk about skincare, somebody to talk about wine. Apparently, some wines have more sugar than others, which I did not know. So they're going to teach us how to, if you're going to drink, find the ones that are a little lower sugar. And then I'm going to do like kind of a woo-woo relaxation, meditation, visualization thing.
woo-woo.
It's a little woo-woo. I have a background in IT, so it's a little woo-woo, but I find it super effective, right? Because part of what I do is help people get out of that fight or flight cortisol, right? Like that cortisol gives you belly fat. So we want to like get out of the fight or flight, relax a little bit, get into the parasympathetic, that's the rest and digest side of your system. So that's part of the idea, is taking a little break between the drama of work and the drama of the second job at home. So that'll be 4:30 to 6:30 at my house. It is $10 to reserve your space, but just shoot me an email at that same email address, or you can even text me 678-378-4278. It's probably not a great idea giving out my cell. Don't get weird with it, but but you can text me and I'll save you a spot. And we're just going to get together and visit a little bit and invest in ourselves for a change.
Fun.
Sounds
Well, we
great.
thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
coming on,
much.
Lisa. It was such a pleasure.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you guys
Thank
so much
you.
for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hello, Cindy.
Hi there. That was great. I told you, Lisa, she's got the answers. People
Definitely.
should make the effort and consult with her. And if people are down that way towards Stewart, it sounds like a great event they're going to be having for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't mention, but I just thought I would shout it out that the Yankees did win today.
Yay.
Are you
Can't
excited?
wait. I'm excited.
I'm
Let the
excited for
baseball-
that game coming up.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do some lives from there.
Yes. But you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, we really appreciate it. And we will catch you. When will we catch them?
Next Monday at 8 p.m. Skinergy Squad
Yes.
podcast. Don't miss it. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us.